From battlefield to bomb shelter, from home front to hospital, from volunteer rosters to victims lists, women experience war in distinctive, gendered ways. These are their stories. These are their voices. Welcome to Voices of Women at Wartime, a podcast by the Center for Women's Justice in Israel. I'm Rachel Stomel.
And I'm Rivka Lubitch.
Living through wartime doesn't just force us to confront new challenges and hardships. War also takes problems already embedded in our society and makes them worse. Many types of inequality that existed before the war, whether that's in terms of gender, race, economic inequality, or other social signifiers, are now more heightened and more harmful to the people who are most vulnerable to its effects. Today, we're going to be talking about the war and the problems faced at the intersection of two marginalized social groups in Israel: Arab women. The war has affected Arab women in ways that are different from non-Arab women and also different from Arab men.
Joining us today is Celia Jawabreh, an Arab-Israeli social activist and feminist who lives in an Arab village in what's known as the Triangle region in the center of Israel. Celia has worked in the field of education for years and is currently an educational counselor with the Branko Weiss organization in a project accompanying Arab authorities in developing the quality of public education. Celia has a fascinating perspective on how Arab women are faring right now during the war, both from her professional and personal experiences as a social activist, an ardent feminist, and a mother of three. Thanks, Celia, for speaking with us today.
Thank you, Rivka. Thank you. Hi, Rachel.
So first, tell me a little about yourself, where you grew up, where you live now, and how you became a feminist and a social activist.
So I grew up in Faradis, which is a village near Zichron Yaakov.
It's just near me. I live in Nir Tzion, which is the other side from Zichron.
Yeah, it's so close. So I grew up there, and now I am living at Kfar Kara. I became social activist and also a feminist because of the injustice has been everywhere in when I was growing up, and I thought women need extra support in various fields, in education and in the injustice in social intercourses, and especially with marriage issues and education issues. So because I saw injustice, that's the main reason. So I told myself also that it will not be happening to me. So whatever has been happening to my family, to my grandmother, mother, aunt, or other women in my family, it will not be happening to me. Thank God. God was listening. So I didn't bring it on other generation. So it stopped.
So you feel that you got something done in your activism?
Yeah, I think I chose I chose my husband to be my partner in life. He is not. It's like in Mukhtar in the house, and he does not do anything. And it's not like traditional man. So he is helping me, and he is part of everything. I don't say that he is helping. I always say he is taking a part because he is not helping me. We are doing this, the stuff in the house with the kids together. So I think it stopped with my mom and my grandmother. So
that's good. And I hate when people say like, oh, my husband helps a lot in the house. Like, he doesn't help. It's his house too. It's his kids too. He's not the help. He's the parent.
You're right. Yeah. I think I grew up in a religious house. So in religion, you have to help other people. So society is very important. You are not alone in the society. You have to have a part in the society. So you have to help others if you can, if you have the means to help. So that's why when I became interested in the other issues of my own. So when I hear someone needs help of, especially women, because I have a women friend and I have been socializing with women more than men. So when I hear about anything, I try to help.
So what has the 7th of October done in your life?
It has been a shock. It's like I think we have many in commons in this sense. It has been a very we are still in shock. What happened, and how can we understand what happened in that day and why it happened, and how to compare it to other stuff in our life. It was very different in many sense. It's like before and after. You know that it's like when they killed Rabin, and before and after. It's like something like that, and so
we can't go back to how it was. It's just a new reality.
You feel that we have to act differently in the future in order so that we don't have the other 7th of October happening again to us. So in the means of internal complication or internal feud and external ones.
Before the podcast, you mentioned that on October 8th, you became a different type of citizen. So what does that mean? And do you feel that people are looking at you with more suspicion now because of who you are? How do you see yourself fitting into society?
I told Rachel that in the 8th of October you have to announce. It's every Arab citizen, if she was a woman or a man, you have to announce that you are condemning what happened in the 7th of October. So it was not it's a natural response. You have.
It's not obvious to anybody. Yeah, I met somebody actually in the hospital when I was taking my mother around. She said to me, "I'm a Palestinian, but I'm not a murderer." It was a weird thing to say. I was like, I was shocked. Kind of brought a smile to my face, but I guess it's not funny if you have to explain yourself all the time.
Yeah, it's became like this, and it's like in the night you have been living your life in certain way. In the day after, you became other thing. You have to be worried. Where are you? I think it's similar to you too, also, but inside of Israel, not in the fighting region, we have been fearing to go out. We have a restriction movement in women of religious women, especially with the hijab, had a bigger part of being worried. Where are they going? Or students have been not going to the classes or courses, or have not been in cities where it's a majority of Jews around them. My sister, she is religious. She has the hijab, so she has not been moving. She was not coming to visit me because she was worried about the roads. It has been like this for all of the women. It's not especially to us. Although we are a bit far away from the fighting region, we are not close.
I want to ask you a really hard question. I mean, this is not an easy conversation for sure, but do you understand the suspicion that people have and the fear that people have from people that look dressed in a religious Arab way?
You know, Rivka, I can, if you don't have any interaction with Arab people, I can understand that, which is weird, actually, because we are 1/5 of the population here. But if you have interaction and have this feelings, it's very weird. Because yesterday we were talking and we have been talking about stuff, and I have my staff, we have Arab Jewish staff, and when I was walking in the mall before a month ago, I had my two of my kids, and we were not talking Arabic that loud. So I told them try not to be to seen as Arab people. This is the message that I have been giving them. There has been reflecting the emotions that we are kind of killers or something like this. You have people hearing Arabic and going aside, and it's not easy feeling to go around. So it has been around me, and I don't have hijab. I have short hair. I am a bit white, so I can be a Jewish lady. If I feel like this, so you can think about for yourself what a religious lady would feel in this.
First of all, I think that you're absolutely right. The fact that we're not interacting enough, there's not enough interaction between Arab and Israeli Jews, is a huge issue of feeling fear and suspicion. That's number one.
Also, the language barrier. I can't understand
Absolutely.
how can we live 75 years together and you can't speak Arabic.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the things that they were saying now, that people have to learn Arabic
Yeah,
and
it seems weird that it's not mandatory in schools
in
to learn
schools. Yeah.
Arabic. And we live in the Middle East, and
Yeah,
we can't taught people in our own country. It's very weird. And I think that's on purpose that, I don't think it's by accident that in
Why
schools
would
it's not
why would
taught.
it be on purpose? Do you want your kids to learn English? How many languages do you think they can learn?
I don't know. I think that it's not a high priority of the people who are making decisions that we
I
should
agree with you.
help kids integrate, because there's so many things that are mandatory to learn. And I feel like this is something just for basic, I don't know, just basic functioning in a country that people should be able to speak to each other at the minimum. It's very weird to me. One time I remember I was in a Makole in the Male Dumi where I used to live, and there was someone who was putting out signs in the different vegetables, and all the signs were written in Hebrew. And he asked me which thing goes where, and then I realized he couldn't read. He couldn't read in Hebrew. And so he had to ask me which signs to put in which things. And I was thinking he works here and he probably lives nearby and he can't speak and read the language. And I can't speak and read his language. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know.
I think in a systematic way they didn't want us to be integrated together. Otherwise, why do you think there is a majority of Arab people living in the triangle and the majority of people living in the Jewish people living in the cities in the center, or we are not integrated just in
I
the
agree with that, but I don't know what the reasons are, and I don't know enough to be able to say. I certainly think there's not enough learning,
yeah.
and I agree that there's not enough learning and interaction.
Yeah.
But
So
I wouldn't
because
I wouldn't jump to
Yeah.
conclusions about.
I brought this up because of the when we talk together in Arabic, if two pharmacists in the super farm are talking together in Arabic, so the Jewish lady, which is the client, thinks that they are talking about her. It's you have condition like this, and people, and there have been many people asking Arab workers not to talk in Arabic.
I just want to say about that people don't like it when other people talk in English, and we did it all the time. I'm American. It used to be the language that a lot of people spoke. I hate it when people are talking Russian around me, and it happens all the time in hospitals. Then there's French. Lately, wherever you walk, you hear French all over. So it's not so bad if it's in the street. I mean, I don't mind. But if people are talking over your head in a hospital, now they're doing it, by the way, in Arabic. My mother, Aleha Shalom, just had a biopsy a year and a half ago, actually. And she said, so they were talking over my head in Arabic while they were operating, and she was very upset. So these things are very frustrating, and we definitely agree about everyone has to learn the other language, that's for sure, and more integration. The other thing that I wanted to say was this thing about I just think it's very easy to say, why is everybody so suspicious? But there is a reason that people are suspicious. I mean, it was so shocking what happened, and it's not, I don't even know how to explain the obvious. It's not clear. The fact is that I am not sure 100%. The day after the 7th of October, everybody that I saw that I knew was Jewish, I knew that they were shocked and were all on the same side. I was not so sure about people that I know who are Arabs. You're telling me now that I should have been sure.
Yeah.
I just don't know, because there are all these stories of people. I mean, my sister said that there was somebody who was driving around her son into school in Jerusalem. It turned out she'd put up things on Facebook promoting what happened. It doesn't really come from nowhere.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
I think it's very easy to discriminate. I'm not speaking about you. I think there has been several incidents that it was not very good
That it wasn't right.
to our image, but you can't say all of the Jewish people did this. If settlers elsewhere did the horrible thing or crime, I can't say that all of the religious Zionists are doing the same thing. You can't generalize, but in our case, it's very easy to people to start saying all of the Arabs are like this, all of the Arabs like that. We have all of them, they will kill us. I think think I told Rachel before that in 48 the Arab that are living in here in Israel and inside of Israel, if you count the incident that were violent between Arabs and Jews here inside, you will count them in one hand. There was not so many, but it's easy to say all of them. You have to take the context of the things. We are citizens. In the East Jerusalem, there is people that they are not citizens and they don't have any rights. So they are different from us. You have to differentiate.
Yeah. Okay.
When you don't know any Arabs, if you're friends or you don't interact with Arabs, so you are.
No, I do a little bit. I want to ask one little question, then we'll go on to something else. Because I've asked my husband this a few times. Do you think it wouldn't be dangerous for me to walk through Faradis? My husband wouldn't be happy if I went in. I mean, I know that he said he once went in to get something from a...
You know, in Zichron, there is a woman from Faradis that has been attacked.
In Zichron, yeah.
In Zichron. She has a hijab. She has...
This is recently?
Yeah. In the incident after the war, after the beginning of the war, she was going there. So we had, our family didn't let us go to Zichron or to.
They were afraid.
We have many women working in Zichron. You know, they are in the cleaning business, so they have to go, and the women in Zichron rely on them in day-to-day life. So they were afraid to go. So, but I can assure you, if you come to Kfar Kara, you come to Ara Al-Fahm, also, you'll be 100% safe. So
okay.
Don't go but don't go to Ramallah.
Okay, so I'll have to learn the differences between all these things and see. There's a lot for us to learn here.
You mentioned people like women who have hijab and who are nervous to go out. Do you know anyone who stopped wearing their hijab because of what's going on and they don't want to appear visible?
Actually, I had before 5 or 6 years ago, I had hijab too. So I stopped wearing it because if it's like people looking at you and knowing what you feel and what you think, and you have to say, I am not like this, I'm not like that. I think you face this too. I don't think.
Yes, we were talking about it beforehand, Rachel and I, that we sometimes feel the same way. I actually forgot that you're covering your hair, Rachel, and I was thinking Celia probably looks at me and thinks, oh, she's religious, she has such and such views. I forgot that you... Okay.
I feel also totally like after the last elections that people look at me and assume that they know who I voted for and who I support and that I must, be radical settler or whatever they think. But I also don't want to be like, no, I'm one of the good guys. It's very condescending also to be like, oh, they're all that way, but I'm the one who's good. But yeah, it's very annoying that people look at the way my hair is covered and assume all sorts of things about me. Even within the religious community, people will assume things about me like, oh, this person is safe to tell all these racist things to because they probably think the same as me. Or they'll think like this person is all sorts of things.
We have the same experience in this field.
But for me, it's not dangerous. That's the difference. No one is going to look at me and say, this person is scary or suspicious, or I need to, cross the street when I see them. No one's doing that with me. They're just assuming all sorts of, opinions.
I lost a job once because somebody thought that I am of a certain way of thinking because of where I said my husband learned years ago in which yeshiva. I literally lost a job for that.
Wow. Yeah.
So I've heard about Arab women who are being fired from their jobs or being discriminated against in other ways by their employers since the start of the war. So can you tell me a bit about that?
Yeah. So I was in a bed cafe, in a coffee place here in Arara, which is near my house. We have been sitting there, and there was a lady from Barta'a, which Barta'a it has two halves. Half of the Barta is after the green line, and the half of it it's before it. It's like Israeli Barta and the Palestinian Barta. So she was from the Israeli part, and she was telling me that after the 7th of October, she and 3 of her friends were fired from a clothes shop in Harish, actually. I got involved in this issue, and I write about a post about it in my Facebook, and my friend interact, and we try to help her, and some journalists got involved also, and asked the I don't want to say the name of the clothes shop, so he was talking to them, and actually what happened that they fired because of the people of Harish. They fired the four workers. Half of them have hijab, so you can say that they are Arab ladies. But the response of this chain, they were saying that more than half of our workers are Arabs. It's actually true, but it's not in Harish. In Harish, they fired all of the Arab ladies and kept all of the Jewish workers there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So they can say that because if that it's low wage job. So if you can look around you, the workers in the gift shops, clothes shops, McDonald's, and all of they would be Arabs because they would not find a job elsewhere. So their claim is true. More than half of their workers are Arabs.
You also mentioned something about Rami Levy.
Yeah, it has been something about Rami Levy. After I talked they have an organization for workers. They wanted to help the ladies. So I was talking about with the manager there, and she was telling me that Rami Levy asked all of the Muslim ladies that have hijab to wear it like Jewish ladies. It's like this, covering
tied in the back. You mean?
Yeah. So they would appear like Jewish ladies,
like Jews.
And
wow.
And after they got involved, they told them you are breaking the law, because in the law there is nothing enables you to ask them to wear hijab elsewhere like you want. And he got back and let the workers in Rami wear it like they want, because they have been working there all of the time. It's not like he has been hiring them just after the 7th of October. So
a few episodes ago on this podcast, we talked about Israel loosening gun restrictions because of the war, and how more guns in the streets and in the home will affect women, and especially women who are experiencing domestic violence. What insight can you give us, Celia, from your perspective in terms of the violence and crime you've seen that's happening in Arab communities for years?
I think domestic violence will go up, unfortunately, because whenever the man has the gun and he is a violent man, the women will be terrorized in their homes. So my heart goes out for the women in the Jewish community, and I think in the campuses it will not be easy between the students. The rules of opening fire has been becoming more loose also. So you can kill somebody because we have seen by the incident, the unfortunate incident in Jerusalem, when the shooter was raising his hand and saying that he is Jewish.
Has the war affected the way that you express yourself politically? Because I know that if I speak out or criticize the government because I'm a Jewish Israeli, it's very different that if you speak out and criticize the government as an Arab Israeli. So do you feel like you're like censoring yourself, or do you can't really say things, or if you do say things, there's going to be a price?
Actually, from the beginning of the war, we were not saying anything because we have been fearing to express ourselves. So you wanna say something about the war. You wanna say that you are feeling for all of the victim, and you can say also that you are feeling for the victim in both sides. It has been eliminated that you just can't feel for just one side of this conflict. Actually, we were not. We have not been speaking out. Just our political persons that they have immunity, so you can do anything to them. But other people, we were not in the social media or in the Facebook, Instagram. We have been silent. And recently, some manager of one of the schools in Tel Aviv said that in Gaza there is also women, elderly, and children, and she has been fired because she said that there are also in Gaza there is such people. So
and this is a Jewish woman, he said.
Yeah, she's Jewish. So if she have been fired over this, so you can imagine if what will be happening to me in the sense of social status or economical status. We are 50% under the poverty line. So we can't allow.
So you can't afford to be
to be expelled, fired, or every penny is very essential in every house in the Arab community. So it has been it was very new to us, because in the other world you could say something. You could say that there is injustice being happened. Now in these days you can't say that.
Okay.
So thank you so much, Celia, for speaking with us today. I feel like I have had a blind spot to everything that's been happening in the Arab community, and I'm sure many of our listeners have had that too. So this conversation was very enlightening, both in its specifics about what Arab women are experiencing, also how we need to be better in general about confronting inequalities between our communities. So I hope this is just the beginning of that larger discussion and not the end of it. I also want to thank our listeners for tuning in today. By listening to this podcast and by giving women's voices your attention, you give them power. If you, like us, agree that women's perspectives are essential to the Israeli narrative, subscribe to the Voices of Women at Wartime wherever you get your podcasts, and encourage your friends to listen and subscribe too. And if you have thoughts, questions, or comments, we'd love to hear from you. You can reach out to us on social media, on the Center for Women's Justice page on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or wherever.
Thank you, Rabbi Scott Kahn, for the recording and editing. I'm Rivka Lubitch, and I was here with Rachel Stomel. Be well and stay safe.